Wow, these championship games are coming really thick and fast now. Hi guys, and welcome back to another video where today I'm going to be attempting to predict the scores of week 4 of this 2021-2022 Championship League season. Now before we get on to this week's predictions, let's have a quick look back at how well we all got on in week 3. So on the screen, as you can see, top scorer in game week 3 was Liam Grayson. Liam came away with 11 points overall with 2 perfect scores, those being the Luton Town victory against Barnsley and the 1-0 home win for Huddersfield against Preston. Myself, I came away with 9 points, which wasn't too shabby at all. 2 perfect scores as well, that Huddersfield Preston victory and Fulham's 2-1 away victory against Millwall. So how does that affect the predictions league table now? Well, top of the shop, I'm pleased to announce, is yours truly on 33 points with 7 perfect scores for the season so far. In second place we've got Shane on 30 points, and in third we've got Ojo 52, and incidentally in fourth place Liam has climbed up the table, last week's top scorer of course, into fourth place on 27 points. So that's enough of last week. Let's now move on to this week's predictions. As usual, I'm going to try and predict these scores in under 2 minutes. We haven't been able to do it so far. We've been managing to get around about the 2-minute 30 up to 3.5 minute time on that. But let's try and get these ones under 2 minutes today. Yeah, good luck with that one yet again. So on the count of 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, so first up on Friday evening we've got Bristol coming up, or Bristol City I should say, coming up against Swansea. Bristol had their first victory of the campaign, I believe, against Reading in game week 3. Swansea in all sorts of trouble, getting dispatched quite easily at home against Stoke 3-1. Another tight affair. It's a 7-side derby, so anything can happen. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Next up, we've got high-flying Queen's Park Rangers, who beat Middlesbrough on the road in game week 3, coming up against Barnsley, who suffered defeat last time out. I think, was it at home? It was against Luton, 1-0. QPR started ever so well, so I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory for QPR, and incidentally this takes place at 12:30 on Saturday. Moving on to the 3 o'clock fixtures on Saturday, we've got Blackburn Rovers coming up against West Bromwich Albion. West Bromwich Albion, top of the table. Dispatched Sheffield United 4-0 in the last game week, whereas Blackburn, I think they came away with a victory on the road against Nottingham Forest. They did 2-1. No problem for West Brom in this one. I can see them going up to the northeast and scoring a couple of goals there, and I'm going to go for Blackburn 0, West Brom 2. Next up we got Bournemouth coming up against Blackpool. Bournemouth doing ever so well as well. They gained a 2-0 victory against Birmingham, which was a very good result. Blackpool sort of stuttering now, you could say, in the last match. I'm sure they lost at home against Coventry, and prior to that they lost at home against Cardiff. So straightforward win for Bournemouth here. Yeah, I'm going to go 3-0 to the Cherries. Next we've got Cardiff coming up against Millwall. This is going to be a real tight match. I know that Millwall lost in that derby in London against Fulham at home 2-1. I think Fulham were 2-0 up in that match as well, whereas Cardiff had to come from behind against Peterborough, 2-0 down, coming back to 2-2. Both solid teams this one, but I think being at home, Cardiff are going to come away with a victory, and I'm going to go for Cardiff 2, Millwall 1. Next up we got Coventry coming up against Reading. Coventry doing quite well this season, gaining that 1-0 victory against Blackpool, of course, in the last game week. Reading suffering defeat against Bristol City. I'm going to go all square in this one. I'm going to go for Coventry 1, Reading 1. Next up we've got Derby coming up against Middlesbrough. Derby gaining a very good victory away against newly promoted Hull City in the last game week. Middlesbrough suffering defeat at home against QPR, of course, but I think Middlesbrough are going to be too strong for Derby in this one, particularly as they lost the last fixture. They should bounce back in this one, so I'm going to go for Derby 0, Middlesbrough 1. Next up we've got Fulham coming up against Hull. I think straightforward victory for Fulham in this one. They're looking ever so strong this season so far. Fulham 2, Hull City 0. Next we got Luton coming up against Birmingham. Both of these teams have started well. Luton, of course, winning the last match against Barnsley 1-0, and Birmingham were on the wrong end of, I think they lost, didn't they? They lost, if I can find the result. They did against Bournemouth at home, but Bournemouth are looking very good so far this season. So I think Luton are going to take the spoils in this one. So I'm going to go for Luton 2, Birmingham 1. Next we've got Preston coming up against Peterborough. Preston, terrible start to the season, and Peterborough playing well but not really picking up all 3 points in many of these fixtures, but I think they will in this one. I was impressed with how they played against Cardiff, so apart from those last 10 minutes. So I'm going to go for a Preston 1, Peterborough 2. Next we've got Sheffield United coming up against Huddersfield. Both of these teams dire so far. Sheffield United can't score for love or money at the moment, getting destroyed 4-0 against West Brom last time out. But Huddersfield, they themselves suffered. Actually, they gained a victory against Preston, who I've already stated have started the season terribly. But I think Sheffield United are going to gain their first victory of the season, and I'm going to go for Sheffield United 1, Huddersfield 0. And last but not least, we've got Stoke coming up against Nottingham Forest. Stoke playing really well so far. Nottingham Forest, bottom of the table, looking terrible. Straightforward victory to Stoke in this one, 2-0. So there we have it, guys. That's my predictions for game week 4. We've ended up on 4 minutes 37. Not too good at all, not reaching that 2-minute mark, but yeah, hopefully I've given you a little bit of information in those 4.5 minutes anyway. So yeah, that's it for game week 4. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to leave your predictions in the comment section, see if you can climb up the table. But for now, I'll bid you all farewell, and I'll see you all in the next video.